The stadium is packed to the gills, lights blazing over the green as thousands scream one name, Bin Hong. Bin Hong. There he is, our hero stepping up to the batter's box right now. The umpire is tense. The crowd is silent. This is his final stand. Ninth inning, 2 outs, bases loaded, down by 3 points. Man, this script feels familiar, doesn't it? The tension is absolutely suffocating. Bin Hong settles his cap, his gaze razor sharp. He is preparing for the final swing of his career. Look at that crowd, they can't believe it. Bin Hong, Bin Hong. They are screaming like the world ends tomorrow. Send this ball out of the park. With a career total of 3,000 hits, Bin Hong has shattered every record in the book. He is more than a player, he is a living legend. Today, thousands are witnessing a historical moment. This is the final day of his baseball career. The pitcher winds up, the ball blurs through the air, and boom, the crack of the bat echoes through the stadium. A solid hit on his very first at-bat of the night. But wait, look at it go. That is no ordinary hit. It is soaring way over the wall. Goodbye. That ball is a home run, a grand slam for his final swing. The writers really know how to please a crowd. The stadium explodes. Nobody believes Bin Hong is 40 years old. He is a beast, please. Do not retire yet. Fans are screaming in desperation. His teammates on the Chens rush out, tossing Bin Hong high into the air. He is flying higher than when they won the championship. A legend with a terrifying record of 3,000 hits. Now, as the 2020 season ends, he is hanging up the jersey. Under confetti and cheers, he bows, "Thank you, everyone." The man walks into the dark tunnel, leaving the spotlight behind. "Thanks for everything, Mr. Legend." In the silent locker room, the dim light and stillness are a sharp contrast to the roar outside. Finally, the moment has arrived. Time to fulfill a promise. He zips up the old bag, the sound is haunting. To go back to that moment, his eyes heavy, memories flooding back in slow motion. "Bin Hong," someone calls out. "Listen to the coach." "What is it, sir?" "Just one moment, it only took a moment. Your parents had an accident." The news hits like a thunderbolt. They are gone. They were on their way to see their son's debut. That crushed truck, was it the Reaper's carriage to the afterlife? This time, it only brought agony. Parents. A gut-wrenching scream in the hospital. He collapsed by the bed draped in white. Among their things, he found a small wooden box. Inside was a card, a gift his father meant to give him on his debut day. It read, "Legend, 3,000 hits, Bin Hong." Ironic. He had not even gone pro, yet those impossible stats were written there. Because of that, the last 22 years were a grueling journey. He gives a faint smile, the smile of a man who has finally dropped his burden. "I did it. 3,000 hits." Since that day, that mysterious guy made a promise. The card in his hand suddenly glows bright. Golden light fills the room. "If I hit 3,000, I would see them again." Bin Hong smiles, hope shining in his eyes. "He will let me see my parents." Time travel? Not exactly, not yet. Light explodes, energy swirling around him. Clothes, caps, baseballs all dancing in the air. There he is, appearing from thin air, a kid? No, a creature in a cap with a sinister grin. He calls himself the Baseball Fairy. Looks trustworthy, right? "Congratulations," the floating spirit chirps. "You actually hit 3,000. Who would have thought you would pull it off? Impressive. You are the best." Bin Hong stares back, dead serious. "Can I really see my parents now?" The spirit grins. "Of course. Fairies never lie. You know." He explains the rules. Keep 22 years of pro experience and go back. Memory bubbles appear. Back to the time before the accident happened. An 18-year-old body, but the mind of a legend with 3,000 hits in the majors. It is legendary new game plus mode. Replaying the game with max gear and skills. You will be reborn as a true monster. Go challenge the major leagues. Now, move out. Blinding light swallows everything. "See you 22 years ago," Bin Hong yells as the vortex pulls him in. A black hole opens in the ceiling, then silence. Bin Hong opens his eyes. This ceiling? This lamp? I sat up, staring blankly. This messy room is filled with baseball trophies and posters on every wall. This is where I lived forever ago. I look at my hands young, without a single callus from 20 years of batting. I grab the mirror on the desk. The reflection staring back is an 18-year-old boy. My eyes go wide. This is real. Looking around this tiny bedroom, I have actually returned. Without hesitating, my trembling fingers grip the knob. Click. The door opens and light pours in. Breath held, eyes wide, heart hammering. There she is, a woman in an apron, at the stove with that familiar haircut. Mom! I scream, a cry bottled up for 22 years. She turns around, looking completely shocked. Oh, what is it, son? She smiles that gentle smile I thought I would only see in my dreams. Why so noisy? Bin Hong stands frozen, face flushed and eyes watering, gasping for air like he just ran a marathon. Mom just acts natural. Why so early? Are you hungry? It feels like a dream. Just wait. Breakfast is almost ready. Tears start falling. I cannot stop them. My shaking hand reaches out toward her. Mom, I need to touch her to know this isn't an illusion. I clench my fist, veins bulging with emotion. The tearful face of a 40-year-old man in an 18-year-old body. Mom, I rush to hug her. A tight, warm embrace. Mom flinches, her apron rustling as I bury my face in her shoulder, sobbing like a child. I am finally home. Early morning light and the smell of food fill the kitchen. On the table sits steaming rice, hot soup, and Mom's legendary signature egg rolls. Bin Hong takes a bite. The flavor explodes along with his memories. Mom's cooking. The 18-year-old soul starts weeping. I really missed this so much. Swallowing that bite, the truth hits. I am back 22 years. Then, a voice breaks the silence. Oh, Bin. The door opens and a middle-aged man walks in, looking half asleep. You are up early. Bin Hong spins around, eyes wide, pupils shrinking from another shock. Dad. Dad laughs, a bright smile I haven't seen in years. Finally woke up early, huh? My mind is exploding. He is alive. I am actually seeing my father. I stare at him like he is an alien, making him nervously touch his face. Is there something on me? That is when I snap back to reality. Oh no, right. This is 22 years ago. To me, I last saw them in a past life of misery. To them, I am just the silly son from last night. I tell myself, stay calm. You have a young body, but a grown man's brain. I have to play the part. Act like a teenager. I grin and scratch my head like a kid. Yeah, the food just smelled so good I lost focus for a second. Dad looks suspicious but lets it go. Sit down and eat. Glad you like it. You look like you have seen a ghost. Then he strikes a nerve. I get it. You are nervous about meeting the Giants coach today, right? Dad smirks and I freeze. Memories flood back. At 18, I was a star with the national home run record. I was one of the best players in the U-18 World Championships. I was famous, like a K-pop idol. Most importantly, I was the first draft pick for the Giants. Dad keeps talking. I get how you feel. Going pro with the #1 team is like a dream come true. The happy mood suddenly vanishes. Bin Hong puts his bowl down, looking dead serious. Mom, Dad, my mother looks up from her meal. I need to talk to you about that. I take a deep breath, eyes sharp. I am not joining the Giants. Pfft. Dad spits his soup out like a fountain. Mom stares in shock. What? Before they can even process it, Bin Hong drops the second bombshell. I am going to try out for the major leagues. Professional American baseball. I picture the massive American players. That is my true goal. My parents look like I just said I am moving to Mars. Bin Hong thinks. It starts here. My parents look at each other, worried. Mom whispers, going to America right after high school will not be easy at all. Especially Dad. He is a hardcore fan, a Giants loyalist. Convincing him will be harder than moving a mountain. Bin Hong breaks into a cold sweat, but he knows he must do this to change his destiny. The real reason I came back. If I join that team, my parents will attend the debut, and the accident will happen all over again. I have to steer fate in a new direction right here. My dad went silent for a long time, looking grim. Then, he let out a heavy sigh. All right, I was stunned. He looked up, and instead of being angry, he smiled with pride. If you are that determined, then go for it. This time, it was my turn to be completely shocked. What? I did not expect it to be this easy. What happened to the big dramatic argument I prepared for? Dad patted my shoulder. Seeing your kid truly believe in themselves and chase a dream, what parent would not want to support that? It was a moment of pure connection. I felt the tears starting to well up. Dad. I choked out. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. I actually planned to give you this as a gift when you joined the training camp. He hesitated for a second before handing it over. But since you will not be debuting there, take it now. I took the box, already knowing exactly what was inside. I pulled it out my very own player identity card. That is when a crucial detail suddenly hit me. Oh no, I completely forgot. Where did that old immortal guy go? My dad kept rambling on. I spent a good amount of money to have this made. I want you to reach 3,000 hits as a professional baseball player. I stared at the card, my chest tightening. 3,000 hits. Because of those crazy words, I spent 22 long years of my previous life grinding away in absolute misery. Suddenly, Dad burst out laughing and slapped his leg. If you are heading to the major leagues, I should change that to 5,000 hits. I stood there, completely frozen in shock. 5,000? Dad, please tell me you are joking. Boom. Before he even finished laughing, the card in my hand began to glow with a blinding light. A familiar, mocking voice filled the room. He is absolutely right about that. Your next big goal is going to be 5,000. Ha ha. The baseball immortal appeared again, his cap tilted sideways, lounging casually in midair. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Whoa, since when were you here? Don't just pop up out of nowhere like that. You complete jerk. The immortal gave a wicked grin. If you get 5,000 hits in the major leagues, you won't just be a legend, you will be a god. My scream made everyone jump. What is wrong with you? Why did you suddenly start shouting like that? I went speechless. Right. I forgot. Only I can see this guy. I turned to my parents, sweat pouring down my face. I had to do some quick damage control. I held up the card and gave them a forced, awkward smile like an idiot. Haha, I am just so happy. I guess I got a little carried away, right? I grabbed the card and bolted to my room. Mom, thanks for the dinner. And thanks, Dad. The door slammed shut, leaving my parents staring at each other in total confusion. But then, my dad smiled gently. Good luck, son. Inside the room, I leaned against the door and let out a sigh of relief. Finally, I had the card. I stared at the card in my hand, thinking, my journey isn't starting with a debut at some camp, it starts right now. Images of my parents flashed through my mind. This basically means they won't have to face that horrific accident ever again. Fate has shifted. I have taken the first step. Feeling pumped, I shouted the command to summon my status window. A 3D info board flickered to life in front of me, glowing blue and filled with data. Name, Bin Hong. Positions. Everything from catcher to pitcher. Oh wait, left field and right field too. I mumbled to myself. There are so many positions listed. I could become a truly versatile player. But wait, my eyes locked onto a tiny line of text at the very bottom. No, hold on. I rubbed my eyes to make sure. Physical stats. Level 1. Level 1. Are you kidding me? That text body constitution level 1 hit me like a slap to the face. Everything was reset. What on earth is happening here? I grabbed the immortal guy's collar, or at least where I imagined it was, and screamed in despair. Where are all my SS rank skills from before? Bring them back right now. The old guy just stayed calm, casually picking his nose. Didn't I already tell you how this works? If you travel back in time, your skills get reset. You were probably too busy worrying about your parents to listen to me, right? I completely collapsed, clutching my head in agony. Damn it. Level 1 physical stats only give me slightly faster recovery and minor health perks. What good is that? I mean, it is better than nothing. But I have a very long road ahead if I want to reach my real goals. The old man hovered there, arms crossed with a smug grin. Your ambition? Hey hey, you really are a greedy kid. Suddenly, he saw me pull out a baseball bat, radiating an intense, fiery aura. Thump! I gripped the bat tight. The immortal raised an eyebrow. Whoa, are you so mad that you are going to attack a police station? I swung the bat over my shoulder and walked out, eyes blazing with determination. I am going to train, you old fool. I realized that standing here crying about how unfair life is won't change a thing. My level isn't going to go up on its own. I have to put in the work myself. The immortal laughed with delight. Exactly. You finally understand the game. Whoosh! The sound of the bat cutting through the air was sharp and fierce. Crack! The imaginary sound of a ball flying away. I swung the bat with everything I had. It was a powerful swing, carrying the iron will of a 40-year-old man inside an 18-year-old body. The quest for 5,000 hits starts here. This room is beyond tense. Excuse me? The two scouts for the giant stared, unable to believe their own ears. You are refusing? The father standing next to him was in a total state of panic. The scout rushed to convince him that Bin Hong could be the face of the giants. He described a perfect future, gaining experience in the local pro league before heading to America. But look at Bin Hong. He is smiling like he already knows the answers. If we are talking about experience, I have plenty. I have put in 22 years of work. Although the father is a huge Giants fan and is screaming inside, he still respects his son's decision. That is true. However, I respect what my son wants. Bin Hong added one final, crushing blow. What if we increase the contract amount? Immediately, his father covered his mouth and dragged him out. Please, just go home. While being dragged away, Bin Hong shouted back, I will reach 5,000 hits in the major leagues at $%. The poor father was seeing stars, yelling at his son to get a grip as he hauled him away. And just like that, he actually said no. He turned down a massive offer, and history was changed. The image of Bin Hong standing on the podium, receiving flowers and cheers after reaching 3,000 hits. That image of him swinging in that familiar uniform will never become a reality now. Not anymore. Instead, Bin Hong stands under the blue sky with a confident, arrogant grin. This is my true path. On the field, old teammates looked at him like an alien. You said what? You turned down the Giants? Do you know they picked you first overall? Ignoring the noise, Bin Hong slung his bat over his shoulder. I told you, I am going to the major leagues. Seriously, I am really going. Seeing that casual attitude, his teammates just shook their heads. They thought he had finally lost his mind. Even if he wins the national title or the World Cup, going there will just lead to humiliation. Normally, that is how it works. An Asian kid with zero experience heading to America. Bin Hong stepped in, eyes sharp under his helmet. Usually, that is the case. However, as the pitcher threw, the ball ripped through the air. Bin Hong smirked as a strange blue light flickered in his eyes. A powerful aura exploded. Clang! A violent collision echoed. It was not a normal hit, but the sound of a bat destroying a ball. The ball soared high, disappearing into the sky. Everyone on the field stood frozen with their mouths open. Did you see that home run? That distance is not something a high school kid should be hitting. Teammates whispered to each other. He did not have this insane power last week. What happened to him? Here is the secret. Cut to the gym. Bin Hong is shirtless, drenched in sweat with muscles bulging. He is training hard. A floating spirit hovered nearby, nodding in approval. You really are working yourself to the bone. Bin Hong grit his teeth. I will not fail before I even set foot on American soil. That is why I am pushing my body to the absolute limit right now. Breathing heavily, Bin Hong calculated. If I master this injury prevention skill, I can survive any training routine. The old master smirked, his voice dripping with pure sarcasm. True, but even with 22 years of pro experience, surviving the major leagues with that skinny frame is a joke. He pointed at Bin Hong, 6'2" and 172 pounds. You are just a rookie. Watch yourself. Shut up, Bin Hong snapped. Suddenly, there was a knock. Bin, your agent is finally here. The door opened for a round man with glasses and a wide grin. This was An, a Korean American. Bin Hong froze. This guy looked exactly like a cartoon character come to life. "Hello there," and looked at the sweaty, shirtless Bin Hong and spoke politely. "If you are training, keep going. Just listen to me." "Okay, sure," and sat down and opened his laptop. His professional vibe contrasted with his cute appearance. 5 teams have made concrete offers, which is fewer than I expected. Bin Hong listened while he practiced and explained that it was because we filtered out any teams that gave us ridiculous conditions. In other words, we rejected them. The father watched his son practice, looking completely stressed out. I was worried he looked like a steamed bun, but he seems reliable. Did he mean the agent or was he worried about Bin? Probably describing Ann. Whoosh! The pitching machine screamed as the ball shot out like a rocket. Pop! Bin Hong snaps the ball into his glove. His stance is rock solid and every movement is razor sharp. The dad asks Arnold, is he training with a pitching machine? Round-faced Arnold calmly replies, yes. Who else can fire off balls at 180 kilometers per hour? And Bin is catching those from just 10 meters away. What? 180 kilometers per hour at 10 meters? How are his reflexes even possible? He does not make a single mistake no matter what kind of pitch comes his way. Pop, another one hits the glove perfectly. The dad breaks into a cold sweat and turns to ask, so, Arnold, which 5 teams exactly have put these specific offers on the table? Arnold adjusts his glasses and starts listing them off. First is the San Francisco Titans. Whoosh! A ball flies in. Bin Hong sits like a statue as it hits the backstop. Clatter. It rolls on the ground. He just ignored it. Arnold looks surprised. He missed it. The dad starts to panic. Huh, what? Bin Hong stands up and pulls off his catcher mask with a cold look. Oh, you mean that last ball? Honestly, I am not particularly interested in that place. It is clear he let it go on purpose, a stylish way to say no. Arnold stays quiet for a moment, then gets the hint. Bin Hong mumbles to himself, I am going to skip the Titans. Arnold continues the list with the Colorado Rangers, Oakland Panthers, and Philadelphia Pioneers. Boom! This time, Bin Hong lunges for a lightning-fast catch. 2 of those are teams I am actually targeting. Arnold reads the final name on the list, the Detroit Lions. Pop! Bin Hong snaps the ball up perfectly again. His dad rushes over, looking worried. Bin, what is wrong? Why are you missing so many today? The dad thinks that last pass was a mistake. But look at Arnold. He is grinning ear to ear. He finally realized it. Bin Hong looks through the gaps in his catcher mask with a mischievous glint. Arnold lets out a deep chuckle. Ha ha, I get it now. He turns to the dad and drops a bombshell. We are crossing the Titans and Lions off the list. The dad is shocked. What? Why? Bin Hong just smiles mysteriously. The reason? Because he knows the future. Based on his memories from before the time skip, their current starting catcher will stay at the top of his game for 4 more years. An image of a massive giant holding a baseball bat appears. That is a wall he simply cannot climb if he decides to join the Lions right now. If I join the Lions, I will just rot on a minor league bench for 4 long years. No thanks. I will pass on that one. Next, let's analyze the remaining teams. The Panthers just dumped their entire roster in a massive fire sale to save money. They will start rebuilding their lineup next season. It is a decent option, but it is not the best one available. As for the Pioneers, their starting pitcher, Peter, is about to turn 41. The dad gasps, 41? Arnold nods, explaining more about the Pioneers' current situation. Even though one player is rumored to be their next coach, they have absolutely no one ready to step up and fill that position. Their farm system is a total disaster. It has not produced any real talent at the catcher position in a long time. Bin Hong's eyes light up. No catchers to fill the void at the Pioneers? This is it. This is a massive opportunity for me. Arnold hesitates, but the dad and Bin Hong speak in unison. However, Arnold opens his phone, the screen light hitting his round face in a creepy way. The Pioneers fan base is a little bit different from everyone else in the league. Images appear of fans booing and throwing bottles, screaming like wild animals. They mock and insult the players without any mercy at all. They do not care how hard a player tries or what the score is. They are the most toxic, unsupportive fans in the whole league. Arnold sums it up in one single word. Basically, they are thugs. Bin Hong hears this and starts breaking into a cold sweat. Fan influence on a player is huge. Just imagine those angry devils holding bats and screaming at you in your own head. Arnold continues. Many rookies could not handle the pressure from that constant mockery. They burn out and fail immediately after their big debut. On the other hand, Rangers fans are pretty chill, and they seem to be the most excited about actually signing you. Bin Hong. Arnold looks up, expecting a safe decision. So, what are the best terms? The dad asks for clarification. Arnold gives a practical smile. I mean, how much cash are they paying? Bin Hong hears the money and his eyes sparkle with greed. You mean the contract details? Arnold smirks back. These two are definitely on the same page when it comes to doing business. The screen shows the cold, hard numbers. Panthers offered $2.8 million. Pioneers offered $3 million. Rangers offered $3.5 million. Now for the million-dollar question. Which one will you choose? Flash. Camera lights flicker like lightning. Snap, snap, snap. Reporters swarm Bin Hong at the airport. Bin, we heard you signed with the Philadelphia Pioneers. What is your first impression of them? How does it feel to turn down the other offers for the major leagues? Bin Hong just sticks out his tongue at them. I have been through this so many times. Honestly, I am just completely over it by now. He mumbles, everyone thinks they know better, but just look at their faces. At the end of the day, they are just human. A reporter asks, why choose the Pioneers? Bin Hong replies casually, I am not interested in those people, because I already have the people who truly support me right here. The reporters are stunned. In the crowd, his mom and dad are waving flags and cheering. Go Bin, conquer the major leagues. Adorable. But back to the main point. The Philadelphia Pioneers. Humph, my dad still wonders why I would pick a team where the fans are so toxic. Bin Hong just gives a radiant, dangerous smile. Probably because it looks like fun. You know how I am, Dad. He walks off, radiating pure charisma. I am the type whose batting average only goes up when people scream at me. The hate fuels my fire. Is this masochism or just pure grit? The old spirit flies alongside him, his face twisted in total disgust. I know your twisted nature. You pervert. Bin Hong grabs the spirit by the head. Shut up, you damn ghost. He adjusts his tie, watching the plane take off into the distance. Well, there is actually another reason. The spirit asks why. The plane soars. Those Philly fried cheesecakes are to die for. Absolutely legendary. The old spirit nods. Fair point. Those are actually good. Driven by a love for haters and sweets, our legend sets out to conquer America. Stars and stripes, sunlit stadiums, fresh grass. This is the Philadelphia Pioneers spring training camp. Crack. The sound of a heavy impact. A dull thud. Ball goes one way, player the other. Bin Hong watches from afar. The rumors were true. What on earth is that catcher doing? Weak posture, slow reflexes. It is honestly pathetic to watch. A team with 10,000 losses? It would be weird if the fans did not turn into hooligans. They have every right to be mad. But Bin Hong sees a goldmine where others only see a dumpster fire. They are desperate for a real player. The spirit whacks him on the head hard. Focus, you idiot. Why are you grinning? The team is a disaster and you are actually happy about it. Where is your professional pride? Before he can reply, you brainless idiot, Santos. A roar echoes. Gavin P. Sky, the bald coach with massive muscles, is losing his mind. He sounds like a lion. You missed that? You call yourself a professional? If you catch like that, get the hell out now. Gavin grabs the poor kid's jersey and screams. Is there even a brain inside that thick skull of yours? Do I have to break your head open to wake you up? Bin Hong clicks his tongue. Gavin is pure trouble. The old spirit giggles. Better be careful, kid. He might just smash your head open next. Bin Hong shrugs. Why worry? If the Pioneers are this pathetic, that starting spot belongs to me. Gavin shoves the player away and glares at Bin Hong. You think so? Their eyes lock in a challenge. Old man, my professional career is longer than that 41-year-old pitcher, and I have way more style. Gavin points. You are up, kid. Did he just call me kid? Fine. I will teach him a lesson. Gavin pulls on his glove, looking murderous. We are starting blocking practice right now. Do you even know what that is? A staffer nearby sweats, trying to stop the madness. Looks like you are just bullying an 18-year-old. Take it easy. Tommy, I mean. Gavin. Gavin smirks. I know. If he cannot block, he is in trouble and I will feel really bad about it. What a liar. He just wants to haze the rookie. Bin Hong steps up, adjusting his cap, eerily calm. I will be fine. Just throw it as hard as you can. No problem. Gavin is stunned by the ego. Bin Hong winks. I have never once made a mistake while blocking a ball. Not once. Gavin snorts. Fine then. His muscular arm winds up like a massive stone catapult. This is going to be your first mistake, brat. Whack. A heavy, solid impact. The ball slams into Bin Hong's chest guard and drops right in front. A perfect block. Nice catch. Gavin raises an eyebrow, then fires another. How about this one, kid? Whack. Blocked again. Bin Hong does not flinch. He moves like a cat, his body a steel wall against every throw. Whack, whack, whack. Gavin throws harder and faster, over and over. Pure intensity. The coach's mockery turns to shock, then dead seriousness. Whack. The final ball is under perfect control. Bin Hong exhales, hand on the ball. And then the moment everything explodes. The catch was just the start. He springs from his crouch, his arm carving a perfect arc. The ball screams through the air, hitting the second baseman's glove like a rocket. Everyone froze. The second baseman's face turns bright red, his hand trembling from the impact. So fast. Gavin was stunned. What on earth was that pitch? He actually threw that from a crouching position. People nearby started whispering. He hit the strike zone all the way from second base. That ball took less than 2 seconds to reach the glove, right? This is the elite level of a P-time legend. Incredible pitch timing. Gavin looked at Bin Hong with a completely different expression. He stroked his scruffy chin, deep in thought. Hey kid, turn around. Gavin hoisted the baseball bat onto his shoulder and pointed. Can you actually hit the ball? Pfft. The baseball fairy doubled over laughing in midair. What a total joke. Look at that, old man. Do you know who this is? He is a legendary player with 3,000 hits in Korea. You are asking if he can hit? Ha ha ha, that is hilarious. Of course, Gavin could not hear a word he said. Bin Hong smirked with a knowing look. I can do it. He was not sure about his current form, but he would definitely surprise him. Gavin roared with laughter, his voice echoing through the entire stadium. Ha ha ha, the guy was clearly getting hyped up now. Get over here. Take off the protective gear. Gavin ordered, then turned to shout for someone in the distance. Scott, throw a few for this kid. A guy wearing a red baseball cap stepped out from the team dugout. Is this the new Korean kid who just joined? I am curious to see how he handles a bat. Bin Hong watched him walk out, eyes wide. Scott Keller. He recognized him instantly from facing him in the World Baseball Classic before. Information flashed through Bin Hong's mind. Scott Keller. Right-handed pitcher, 98 miles per hour, about 157 kilometers. Role, setup man, an elite relief pitcher. In Bin Hong's memory, Scott was older and his pitches were slower. But now, Scott stood there, young and full of energy. Bin Hong gripped the bat, his blood starting to boil. It is good to see you in your prime again, Scott. Gavin yelled, do not go easy on him. Scott gave a confident grin. Got it. Hey kid, let's see your major league talent. Bin Hong stepped into the batter's box as memories from that World Baseball Classic tournament came rushing back to him. He had once blasted a 3-run homer off him, but Bin Hong looked at his hands. Things were different this time. His 18-year-old body was not at its peak yet. Whoosh. Scott pitched, a white blur tearing through the air. Bin Hong focused on the outside fastball. It screamed toward him at a terrifying speed. Foul ball. He missed the sweet spot. He clicked his tongue. Late swing. His mind knew the theory perfectly, but his body could not keep up with his brain's speed. There was a lag, a delay between the hardware and the software. Bin Hong quickly adjusted his hitting stance. I will choke up on the bat a bit, using the choke technique to increase my swing speed. He tightened his grip. A shorter grip means a faster swing. Scott threw the second one. Whoosh. This time, Bin Hong's bat sliced the air faster. Crack. A sharp sound rang out. Gavin's eyes widened. What? The ball streaked away like a bullet, tearing across the grass. Ooh, the other players were impressed. A line drive straight towards second base. Gavin started breaking into a cold sweat. He realized this kid was the real deal. He had more power than expected. He yelled out, "Come on, Scott. Don't get schooled. You will get sent down to the minors." Scott grit his teeth. Provoked, he decided to unleash his secret weapon. Try this on for size. His arm whipped around, the ball spinning hard. A slider. Bin Hong saw the trajectory shifting. His body reacted using 22 years of accumulated instinct. Whoosh! A full-power swing. Time froze. Gavin looked up at the sky, and the whole stadium followed. The ball soared higher, piercing the clouds. The blue sky framed the tiny ball as it disappeared into the distance. Scott stood there, agape. Gavin's eyes blazed golden. A grin stretched from ear to ear across Gavin's rugged and intimidating face. Eyes burning like fire, he bared his white teeth like a demon who just found his favorite new prey. Hey, hey, hey. Against an imaginary backdrop of flames, Gavin looked like a lord of hell welcoming his favorite new rookie to the team. Looks like Bin Hong just found his first hardcore fan in America. At the gym, heavy footsteps thundered on a treadmill. Gasping for air, Bin Hong was grinding through an intense workout. He was drenched in sweat, filled with burning determination. Suddenly, a massive, bearded face shoved right into his. Whoa, jump scare. It was Gavin, the coach with a terrifyingly friendly smile. And then, bam, he swept a leg out and Bin Hong went face first onto the moving treadmill. Gavin roared with laughter like he had just won the lottery. What kind of greeting is this? Gym bullying? Bin Hong scrambled back up and looked around the empty room. Since the exhibition game was near, the place seemed much quieter. Gavin explained while munching on some snacks. Anyone who did not make the main roster got sent to the minor leagues. But you are still here. Do you know what that means, kid? Bin Hong's eyes lit up instantly. Do I make the starting lineup? Gavin crunches his snack loudly. Humph. Who knows? He turns his back and starts walking away, starting his lecture. If I were the general manager, I would never throw an 18-year-old rookie straight into the main starting roster. Major League GMs are smart, seasoned pros. Gavin smirks. Haha, do not sweat it just yet. Then he leans in close to Bin Hong's ear, whispering a massive secret. Keep this quiet. Our GM is a total idiot. He shouts with excitement, sending cracker crumbs flying everywhere. He is a complete moron who threw $20 million at a 41-year-old catcher who cannot even hit a decent home run. Ha, wham. He delivers a thunderous slap right onto Bin Hong's back. Bin Hong nearly coughs up blood, seeing stars. How can anyone survive a hit from a guy with bear-sized hands like that? Bin Hong clutches his throbbing back, watching Gavin head toward the lockers. Gavin, wait, your locker is way over there. Gavin turns back with a wide grin, pointing at the locker right next to Bin Hong's. I moved it next to yours. Let us be good neighbors from now on. Bin Hong panics. Why move here when there are plenty of empty spots since the others left? Gavin acts cool. Why are you sweating the small stuff? What is the big deal anyway? I moved here because I have a lot to start teaching you. Haha, is he looking for private tutoring or just a private victim to torture? The baseball sage floats nearby, his face twisted in a look of pure disgust. Bet you did not see that coming, did you? Man, what a headache. The scene shifts to a luxury skyscraper inside the general manager's high-end office. The tense atmosphere is a sharp contrast to the noisy field. The GM is on the phone, drenched in a cold sweat. I will get straight to the point. I want a player from your team. The other end sounds dismissive. The GM swallows his pride. If you give me your ace, I can send you a prospect. Another rejection. The GM keeps haggling. Wait, I was just testing the waters. What about the deal? The other side hangs up abruptly. Beep, beep. Haha. Being the Pioneers GM isn't easy, is it? Brandon takes another call. I did not call to hear that. Matthias, you know exactly what is happening with our catcher situation. How is my catcher doing? The voice on the other end laughs. Haha, of course I know. Even my 8-month-old grandson knows your career is on the line because of that position. Enraged, the GM slams the phone down. Slam, that jerk. He clutches his head in agony, a powerful man now teetering on the very edge of collapse. Gavin keeps picking up these minor injuries. There is no way I can claim he is at 100% anymore. And even if I wanted to prep a replacement, the skill gap between them is just too massive. He stares at the computer screen. A personnel file pops up, showing a bright, smiling young face. Bin Hong. The GM gazes at the photo, his eyes a mix of total despair and one final, flickering hope. An 18-year-old kid with zero professional experience to his name. I can only pray to God he is useful right now. The fate of the entire team and the GM's career now rest on the shoulders of our rookie. Back at the sun-drenched stadium, Scott, the pitcher from the other day, is waving his hand and calling out. Scott, where is the coach? Scott looks at Bin Hong with a sympathetic gaze. Are you here to say your goodbyes? Bin Hong is stunned. Huh? Scott explains. Tomorrow is the exhibition game. Usually, rookies with no experience are sent down to the minors. With that, Scott pats Bin Hong's shoulder, his voice heavy as if saying a final farewell. It was fun, Bin. See you around sometime. Bin Hong stands frozen on the field. Am I really going down to the minor leagues? I had such high hopes. The old sage looks just as confused. Hey, looks like that is the end of that. The only reason you are even at this camp is because they needed someone to catch practice balls. Bin Hong collapses. An inexperienced rookie, that is something I haven't heard of in 22 years. Suddenly, laughter echoes from the locker room. Ha ha ha. Bin Hong pushes the door open to find the coach. The elderly coach, busy on the phone, turns around startled. Oh, Bin, sorry for calling you in during practice. He smiles kindly. No problem. Did you want to say something? Bin Hong hesitates. He thinks to himself, does he know the exhibition game starts tomorrow? Is he really about to ship me off to the minors? Suddenly, the coach lunges forward and pulls Bin Hong into a massive hug, squeezing him until he cannot breathe. Bin Hong is twice as confused. Huh? The coach shakes his shoulders, eyes gleaming. You are truly a fantastic ball player. Bin Hong gives a forced laugh. Thanks. Even at his age, he stays calm. The coaching staff and all the veterans think very highly of you. Thank you, sir. Especially Gavin, he really likes you. Bin Hong remembers Gavin's creepy, unsettling grin. Ah, right. The coach has not let go yet. And me too. I really like you. He rubs his head against the kid's shoulder like a child. Bin Hong breaks a sweat. Thanks a lot. He thinks, why all this sudden praise? Is this how they soften the blow before kicking me down to the minor leagues? The coach lets him go with a huge grin. So, it all starts tomorrow. The old sage is reminding Manalik, right? I am giving you a shot in the exhibition game. Bin Hong and the sage shout yes. The coach holds up 2 fingers. You will get at least 2 games. After that, we are going to take a look at your results. Bin Hong froze for 5 seconds just to process it. He is playing a real Major League Baseball exhibition game. His face lights up with a massive smile. Really? The coach pinches his cheeks and says, do not get too excited. You are not starting. This is just a simple exhibition game. Do not feel any pressure. Just treat this as a chance to learn something new. Oh, you are in better shape than I thought. This guy really likes to get handsy. Bin Hong bows in thanks. Thank you so much, sir. He walks out of the room feeling like he won the lottery. Yeah, do not overdo it. In the hallway, The old sage is floating around. Talk about luck. You are playing a game just 2 weeks after landing in America. Bin Hong adjusts his cap with a determined look. To be honest, though, this all feels a little bit early for me. I am still a long way from my old prime. The sage smirks and holds up a glowing baseball for him to see. Then what the hell do you think you have been training that body constitution skill for this whole time? Bin Hong smirks and says, fair point. The sage repeats, that old guy said you get to play 2 games, right? Bin Hong clenches his fist, feeling the fire. Fine. Let us do this. Cut to a bright blue sky and golden sun. The massive scoreboard flashes the words exhibition game. It is the Philadelphia Pioneers versus the Detroit Lance. The stands are packed, but the atmosphere feels off. Hey, you pieces of trash. Bottles and garbage start raining down on the field. 2 tattooed superfans are screaming like wild animals. Get out of my sight, you useless losers. How dare you show your faces on this field again? We are not going to leave you alone. A player runs for the dugout, dodging bottles. Damn it, this is crazy loud. Bin Hong watches from the dugout, thinking it looks pathetic. Another player explains it is because that guy just gave up 4 runs. He gave up those runs in the second. 5 innings are over and it is 7-1. A total blowout. The fans are already seeing red, and this is just an exhibition. Playing in this kind of toxic atmosphere is going to be tough. Bin Hong watches the chaos in the stands. Bottles are raining down everywhere, but he just smiles. A look of pure excitement. This is just how Pioneers fans show their love. Do not you find this kind of thing exciting? Gavin stands there watching the kid with a satisfied look. He puts a hand on Bin Hong's shoulder. Get ready. Gavin smirks like he is releasing a monster. It is your turn now. Bin Hong turns around, his eyes glowing a deep sky blue, radiating the raw confidence of a 22-year legend. The boos and insults from the crowd are like background music, just fueling his fire. I am ready to step up. The gates of hell are opening. The next batter drags himself out looking absolutely wrecked. Look at this crowd. Beers in hand, screaming, covered in tattoos. If you do not hit that ball, they are going to come for you. What a heartwarming pep talk. Bin Hong steps out and swallows hard. It is not fear, though. This atmosphere just feels way too familiar. Gavin gives him the nod. Bin, get ready. You are the next batter up. You got it, boss. Bin Hong adjusts his cap, wearing a confident smile. He is already analyzing the opponent. Just connect on the first pitch, kid. The pitcher is John, a grizzled old veteran. John loves throwing fastballs right down the middle when he is facing a rookie. He is the arrogant type who thinks he is still in his prime, even though his power has clearly faded. He is definitely the kind of idiot who thinks he can easily get a strike against a rookie. Bin Hong knows he can do this. Gavin yells from the dugout, knock it out of the park and I will buy you a beer. Bin Hong turns back and answers calmly. I am still not old enough to drink yet, sir. Truly a model 18-year-old. No alcohol for this body. Whoosh. Whoosh. He swings the bat to warm up. The speakers blare out. Now batting, Bin Hong. An unknown name appears on the scoreboard. Immediately, the crowd erupts in thunderous boos. What the hell is this? They are putting in some old rookie? Is he just some Asian kid? Bin Hong stands tall in the middle of a storm of hate. Did they just give up on this game entirely? They are down by 6 runs. Then, the racial slurs start flying along with the trash. Get out of here. Hey, Kimchi kid. Did you come here to play baseball or put on a comedy show? The catcher for the other team is talking trash. He starts his trash talk right away. Did you have to ask your daddy to buy you a hot dog or what? Bin Hong is stunned. What? You are really going to look down on an exhibition game like this? He laughs, but look closely at Bin Hong. His shoulders are trembling uncontrollably. The catcher is loving it. Hey, keep it down, or else I am going to laugh right in your face. Why are you shaking so much? Do not be so scared, kid. Little did he know Bin Hong was shaking, stifling a laugh. The way you are going, you won't even graze the ball. Just swing 3 times and go home. The pitcher smirked and began his wind-up. I won't even need 3 swings. Whoosh! His arm whipped forward, the ball sliced through the air, and that was the single biggest mistake of his entire life. Bin Hong's eyes flared like high beams, an explosive aura erupting from him. Crack! The bat hit the ball like a thunderclap in a clear sky. The catcher froze. Peter's jaw dropped, looking like a total deer in the headlights. Teammates in the dugout erupted and Gavin watched with that triumphant grin of his. Ha ha, I knew it all along. The ball tore through the sky, carrying the raw pride of that Kimchi kid. Fly away, reach for the stars. The ball soared over the fence, smashing right into the electronic scoreboard. Boom! The stands exploded. The people who were just booing and cursing were now staring wide-eyed and completely speechless. Then came the thunderous roar. The announcer stammered in disbelief. A home run on the very first pitch. Peter John stood paralyzed on the mound. Who the hell is this rookie? He hit it straight into the scoreboard. How could such a small frame pack that kind of terrifying power? The crowd's attitude did a total 180. This kid is incredible. I knew he could do it. Sneaky little guy. Exactly what I expected. Bin Hong rounded the bases, tipping his cap to the fans. They chanted his name, Asian boy. Bin Hong ran back to the dugout, grinning at Gavin. You were right about everything, thanks a lot. Gavin laughed hard, but then the smile vanished. He leaned close to Bin Hong's ear, his voice suddenly cold and serious. But listen, kid, your warm welcome ends right here and now. Bin Hong looked surprised. Excuse me? Gavin looked toward the opposing team. Their pride had just been slapped across the face by some Korean rookie. You think they're just going to let this slide? Bin Hong followed Gavin's gaze. Peter John stood with his head down, a dark, murderous aura surrounding him. A terrifying silence. Gavin warned, better watch your back, kid. Next at bat, the crowd roared. Oh, look, he is up to bat again. Give us another one. Kid, let us go. Asian boy. Bin Hong stepped up, but the atmosphere had shifted. The catcher started in again, but his tone was much more bitter. Hey, that last one was just pure luck. He hissed through gritted teeth. This isn't Korea. This is the United States. You will soon experience the painful reality of just how massive the gap between us truly is. I cannot stand this damn racist attitude of theirs. Bin Hong glared at him, a cold gaze that made the catcher flinch. Keep barking, you loser. Peter threw the pitch, a throw fueled by pure hatred. The ball flew like a missile. But wait, the trajectory is off. Bin Hong's eyes widened. Gavin screamed from the dugout. That bastard. I knew it. Move, kid. Bin Hong grit his teeth. Damn it. His body reacted, but it was too slow. The lag of an 18-year-old body betrayed him. He closed his eyes, bracing for impact. Skok, looks like I need to step in and handle this now. The baseball immortal appeared with a bright, somewhat terrifying smile. Whoosh! A flash of light enveloped Bin Hong. A system window appeared, glowing bright. Name, Bin Hong. Physical skill. Body constitution increased from level 1 to level 2. Bang! The ball slammed into Bin Hong's shoulder. The sickening thud of impact made the whole stadium hold its breath. Gavin and his teammates stormed out of the dugout, faces red with pure rage. He aimed for the shoulder. A beanball, the dirtiest revenge in the game. Bin Hong crumpled to the ground. Peter stood there, cold and unapologetic. The crowd erupted in fury, booing and cursing him for such a dirty play. Bin Hong lay still for a moment, then slowly pushed himself up. He dusted off his shoulder as if it were a mosquito bite. The catcher's eyes bulged, and even Gavin was stunned. Young Bin Hong turned back to face the terrified catcher. The catcher stammered. What are you going to do now? Bin Hong looked at him, eyes burning gold, a twisted smile on his lips. As you can see, I am not hurt, but I feel pretty bad about it. An aura radiated from him like a god of war. Because I am not some toy for you to do whatever you want with. He got right in the face of the catcher, who was so terrified he was nearly wetting himself. Prepare yourself, because the real game is just beginning. After that earth-shattering home run, all Bin Hong got in the following innings was silence from the scoreboard. Next at bat, he hit a weak ground ball and was thrown out at first base. He didn't even get the chance to step out and play defense. He sat in the locker room, eyes fixed on his old, worn-out gloves. During the second game, he struck out, failing twice in a row. It only made sense. His opponent was Peter, a former winner of the Young Company Award for Best Pitcher. Bin Hong sighed and pulled off his shirt, revealing a toned, sweat-slicked body. I hate to admit it, but my current skills are severely lacking. My mind is world-class, but this 18-year-old body is still way too raw and unpolished. He punched the locker, frustrated. Not enough skill. His gaze was sharp. He knew that better than anyone. This body hasn't reached its final state yet. As he sank deeper into those dark thoughts, a voice suddenly rang out through the room. Bin Hong turned around. Gavin was standing there, holding a can and looking at him with pity. Don't be too disappointed, kid. Gavin patted his shoulder to comfort him. Getting kicked down to the single A minors mid-exhibition series was a tough pill to swallow. But this happens to rookies all the time, so do not sweat it. Here. Gavin offered generously. Want a beer? I already drank some, but it is still good. Bin Hong declined. I am fine, Gavin kept encouraging him. The coaches are not disappointed in you. They probably just think your first home run was a stroke of beginner luck. But wait, look at Bin Hong's face. He was not sad at all. Instead, a sly grin spread across his face. You said single A, not the rookie league, right? His eyes were shining like bright high beams. This is actually great news. I am not at rock bottom, I am going straight to single A. That means they value me a lot. Bin Hong was fired up. I will be back up there in no time. Gavin looked at the excited kid and laughed. The minor leagues are not where you belong for long. His face turned serious, full of absolute confidence. Go out there, crush them, and get back here fast. Bin Hong gave a firm nod. Okay, before leaving, he turned and pointed at Gavin. And Gavin, don't you dare retire until I am back. Gavin looked completely taken by surprise. Bin Hong smiled confidently. You owe me a World Series matchup. Gavin froze for a second, then roared with laughter and hugged the kid. Ha ha. Of course. You have my word. But deep down, he knew his playing days were numbered. Bin Hong shouted, so promise you will wait for me in the major leagues. The two men, one young and one old, made a vow under the sun. A major flag had been planted. Scene change. A smaller, quieter stadium, but the sky above was still a brilliant blue. Minor League Single A opener. Bin Hong's new team is the Lake Good Blue Cross. In the locker room, Bin Hong was on the phone. Yeah, I moved to the Pioneers affiliate team in Single A. On the other end, his mother sounded worried. Didn't you get hit by a pitch recently? Are you really okay? Bin Hong laughed to reassure her. Don't worry, Mom. My body feels amazing right now. She started complaining about his father, saying he wanted to hunt that pitcher. His dad yelled in the background, wait a minute, honey. Haha. Truly the #1 son-obsessed dad in the universe. Mom. Bin Hong smiled warmly. Look, I have to go. It is almost game time. Play well, honey. After hanging up, Bin Hong stared at his phone screen, lost in thought. Thinking back, the effects of the body constitution skill included boosting health, speeding up recovery from fatigue, and minimizing injuries. He looked at his hands in surprise. Why does my body feel so incredible right now? He whispered the familiar command. The system status board flickered into view. Body constitution level 2. Bin Hong's eyes widened. When did it level up? Suddenly, the image of the baseball immortal flashed in his memory. Congrats, the old man explained. You trained so hard that you actually made it into a major league exhibition game. You did it in such a short time, but at level 1, you wouldn't have survived that nasty pitch. It's no fun if you retire early, right? As you increase the level of this skill, your physical endurance will become legendary. This is no time to be moping about being sent down to the minors. Bin Hong gripped his catcher mask tightly. And who is moping? Anyway, veins popped on his hand, eyes burning with resolve. I promised Gavin. He donned the mask, hiding a fierce, competitive grin. He was going to crush everyone and climb back up, even if he had to claw his way there. Start game. The sharp crack of the ball hitting the glove rang out. Bin Hong, in his catcher gear, was totally dominating the home plate area. Pop! An opponent tried to steal a base. Bin Hong snapped up, firing a laser beam that tore through the air. Out! The umpire yelled. The runner hit the dirt in disbelief. But it did not stop there. Another steal attempt, another pop, and another out. The crowd started buzzing. He caught another one. That is the 5th time now. That catcher is on a completely different level. Bin Hong signaled his teammates, commanding the field. He tossed his mask aside and snatched a foul pop-up effortlessly. Strikeout. He moved so well, like a seasoned veteran despite being the new kid on the roster. In the stands, 2 older guys were chatting away. A pitcher can throw with 0 worries when he has a catcher like that. Does he really have no professional experience? A girl asked her dad. He has improved so much since the Pioneers exhibition game, right? Her dad adjusted his glasses. Why is he in single A? Maybe it is because he is still so young? Nearby, a heavy-set guy, Agent AD, was happily munching on a burger, grinning from ear to ear. My golden goose is finally shining. The game ended, and the players rushed onto the field. Woo! We won, a stunning finish. Bin Hong stood proud, pulling off his mask, hair drenched in sweat, but his smile was radiant. The crowd roared, "Is that kid Bin? I am watching him tomorrow." Post-game, inside the locker room, Bin, got a second? Bin Hong turned to see a tall, dark-haired guy, slightly better looking than him, walking up. His jersey said Cross Bob. Bin Hong asked, "What is it?" The guy named Bob scratched his head shyly. "You know I am starting tomorrow, right? I have a favor to ask." Bin Hong was stunned. He needed a favor? The guy gave a friendly smile and placed a hand on Bin Hong's shoulder. Bob integrated, the man the coach calls Shotgun One Pitcher, the famous shotgun pitcher. The scene shifts to the team cafeteria, a peaceful moment before the storm. Bin Hong and Bob shared a cup of water, a simple but meaningful ritual. "Thanks for this." Bin Hong looked at his teammate, his gaze turning distant and strangely gentle. "Bob, I missed you." In his mind, this was the Bob from the future, the teammate who fought right beside him in that jersey. Do you remember? Of course you do not. Past and future were intertwining. Who would have thought a legend would reunite with an old teammate in this middle-of-nowhere single-A league? And this time, they were both rookies aiming for the major leagues together. Bob interrupted Bin Hong's sentimental trip down memory lane with a worried question. "So, what did you want to talk about?" The young pitcher looked down, gripping his water cup tightly, sweat dripping. "You see, about tomorrow's game, I am the starter, so I hope you can call all the pitches for me." Bin Hong nearly choked on his water. "What? Every single one?" Bob nodded rapidly, looking like he might burst into tears. "Yes, everything. Tomorrow I will not shake off a single sign," he explained with a total lack of confidence. "This is only my 2nd week in single A, but my record is terrible. It seems I do not work well with the old catcher." Bin Hong looked at Bob and burst out laughing, patting his shoulder. "Honestly, that guy really is not that good." Bob panicked and covered Bin's mouth. "Keep it down, Bin." But Bin Hong did not care. He was seeing a very different Bob. The current, Bob said shyly, "Anyway, I want to try working with you after watching you play. If you can bring out my strengths, I wonder what kind of pitches I can throw." Bin Hong was stunned. "You have not changed a single bit. Turns out you loved learning even at this point." Memories from 10 years in the future came flooding back. An image of a massive Bob, hands on his hips, arguing fiercely with coaches and challenging them with tough questions. He even taught Bin Hong English with such innocent, high energy. Bin Hong gave a bright smile. "Should I give it a shot?" Turning this shy boy into the monster of the future. For Bob's sake, Bin Hong decided, "Okay, I will do it. I will give you your first win tomorrow as a gift. Just wait and see." Bob stuttered, clearly moved. "Thanks, Bin." Bin Hong immediately took command. "You must nod to every single one of my signs. Got it?" The scene cuts to game day. The stadium was soaked in the late afternoon sun. Lost Blue Cross versus Greensboro Grasshoppers. The opponent's name sounds like a brand of beer. "Bob." The ball thudded hard into Bin Hong's glove. He winced. "Are you going to be okay? Your control is a bit shaky." Bob stood on the mound, drenched in sweat, and nodded. Yeah, Bin Hong could tell. Bob was definitely nervous. Look at how he is putting all his strength into his upper body, like he wants to throw his whole arm with the ball. He is clearly focused only on throwing fast and hard. Bin Hong analyzed it quickly. He has speed and a straight line, but he is throwing way too high. The warm-up session ended. The batter took his position. Bin Hong looked around the empty field. There was no one on the opposing team that he actually recognized. That is strange. I usually know at least one or two names. He called out to the dugout. You mean you need data? Bin Hong smirked. Data? At your current level, I can just use the special skill I picked up last week. Bin Hong's eyes flashed as he activated his scanning ability. A virtual screen appeared before him, showing detailed info on the opponent. Missours. Right-handed batter, right-handed thrower, second base. Keywords: bunt, patient strength, and push hitting. Bin Hong scrolled through the data list. The list was sorted by skill level, meaning this guy's specialty was bunts and push hitting. This should be interesting. He looked at the batter standing tall, but he was actually plotting. He has the most common style, so he will likely watch a lot of pitches fly past. Bin Hong gave the sign. A fastball right down the middle. Bold. The opponent was waiting, and Bin threw it right into the danger zone. Whoosh! Bob launched a genuine shotgun pitch. The ball tore through the air. Pop! The umpire yelled, "Strike one." The batter stood frozen like a statue. Bin Hong smirked. Just as I thought, he had no intention of swinging at the first pitch. He was focused on tracking the ball, but there was a problem. Bin Hong looked at his glove. Bob's pitch was way too high. If he had faced a good hitter, that ball would have been sent straight to the parking lot. Bin Hong knew he had to be aggressive to hide his pitcher's messy control. He signaled for the next pitch, a second heater aimed right for that inside corner. Inside, Bin Hong visualized Bob's power chart. His biggest weapon was a fastball clocked well over 139 kilometers per hour, a slider at 148, and Bob unleashed a fastball at 155 kilometers per hour, terrifying speed. Bin Hong's eyes widened in pure shock. It was too high. The batter flinched and swung foul ball. Bin Hong let out a relieved breath, sweat dripping down his face. He was looking for an outside pitch but still chased the high one. We got lucky there, Bin Hong thought. He watched the batter adjust his feet, stepping back in the box. The guy was clearly preparing for another inside pitch. This was the moment he wanted. This is our chance. All right, Bob, let's finish him off. Bin Hong flashed the final signal to end it. The slider. That wicked high-speed slider of his. Bob gave a sharp nod, his eyes burning with intensity. Bob wound up and fired. The ball shot out straight before suddenly snapping away, slicing through the air. The batter swung desperately at nothing but wind as the ball disappeared. Pop! The sound of the ball hitting the mitt was music to his ears. Strikeout. Bob pumped his fist in victory. Yes. Bin Hong was just as hyped. Nice, Bob. Now that's a winning look. He smacked his mitt against his leg. Great job, Bob. Arrogance started creeping in. Let's just strike out the next 26 guys and go home. Bin Hong thought to himself, this league isn't as tough as I expected. These hitters were exposing their own weaknesses. Is this all these pro athletes had to offer? He grew careless. The next batter stepped up, twirling his bat with a smug, arrogant look on his face. Bin Hong heard the guy muttering. It seemed the new batter was pretty annoyed about that strike everyone out comment from earlier. Bin Hong just shrugged. Who cares? It makes the game a lot more interesting anyway. He looked at the hitter. I don't even need to scan this guy. He was clearly the narcissistic type. Bin Hong signaled for a changeup, a slow ball dropping low to the outside corner. He planted his mitt right against the dirt. Perfect. Bob nodded and let it fly. But the second the ball left his fingers, Bin Hong screamed internally. You idiot! The ball didn't drop, it just hung there in the air. It was way too high. The arrogant batter didn't miss his chance. He swung with everything he had. Crack! The sound of the bat hit like a thunderclap echoing through the stadium. Bin Hong watched helplessly as the ball soared high into the night sky, way out of anyone's reach. The crowd erupted into a roar. Bin Hong could only grit his teeth. Damn it, I underestimated him. And right then, a familiar face appeared up in the stands. Ano, the heavy-set agent, was busy stuffing his face with potato chips, but his expression was dark and gloomy. He stared down at the field where his $3 million client had just been crushed. Ano sighed deeply, and the chips in his hand suddenly tasted like cardboard. My $3 million contract. The sports agent's round, doughy face filled the frame as his small eyes narrowed, filled with a deep, lingering sense of regret. Maybe I overpaid. Out on the mound, Bob looked like his entire world was falling apart. He stared at the dirt like he was looking for ants. Hey, Peter, what are you staring at down there? Bin Hong yelled, charging toward him through his mask. Is your world over just because you gave up one home run? Bob was trembling, drenched in sweat. Bin Hong didn't stop. It is only 1 point, Bob. Your biggest problem is that your head falls apart the second you give up a single lead. Bob looked up, his eyes welling with tears. What? Bin Hong started laying down some hard facts. Did you know? Last year's winner of the Best National Pitcher Award also gave up plenty of runs. 61 runs and 12 home runs, actually. Bob was stunned. Bin Hong gave a confident smirk. Even the greatest pitchers in the world give up dozens of points and over 10 home runs every season. He poked Bob's chest. If you're going to act like a total loser after giving up one measly run, then you should just go home and play with dolls. Bob muttered under his breath, but you're talking about the major leagues. This is just single A. Bin Hong cut him off. You don't know if that guy who just hit the home run will be in the majors next year. Stop overthinking it. Bob stood there for a moment. That logic actually makes sense, doesn't it? His face lit up again. I get it now. It's not a big surprise that he hit a home run. I don't need to feel threatened at all. Bin Hong thought to himself, man, this guy recovered fast. He really is a simpleton. Bob clenched his fist. Exactly, Bin Hong added, signaling for a straight heater. Your fastball is world-class, even if you can't control it. Hell yeah. Bob, if you follow my signs perfectly, we are definitely going to win. Just throw the ball exactly how I ask you to. Yeah, Bin Hong screamed. Now go out there and crush every single batter. Bob was fired up, practically glowing with intensity. Okay, just leave it all to me. He threw his arms wide and yelled in the middle of the field. I am invincible. Bin Hong turned back with a smirk. What a simple idiot. Bob fired a strike, a thunderous pitch. His spirit was back, and so was his power. Strikeout. The opponent walks off, dejected. Bob is finally back in the zone. In the dugout, Bin Hong cheers him on. Great job leading the game. Bin looks more confident than ever. The scoreboard flashes. Grasshoppers won. Blue Cross won. All right, it is time to strike back. We will tie this up and take the lead. Crack, the bat echoes. Chris safely reaches first base. Now, the next hitter steps up to the plate. Bin Hong. Chris high-fives Bin. Go get them, Bin. Bin Hong adjusts his cap, locked in. Leave it to me. He glares at Peter, the opposing pitcher. I know this guy from the scouting reports. A pure technician who specializes in breaking balls, curveballs, sliders. The first pitch is way outside. Another breaking ball, this one in the dirt. Bin Hong analyzes the situation. He is clearly spamming low balls. He gets it. He has already smashed 3 home runs in 10 single-A games so far this season. The pitcher is desperately trying to prevent another extra base hit. The count is 2 balls and 0 strikes. If he wants a strike, he has to throw a fastball. But Bin Hong notices Peter shaking his head repeatedly. Look at him go. It seems he is refusing to throw anything straight. In that case, he is going for another breaking ball. Whoosh. Ball. Another one outside. This guy is so terrified of Bin Hong that he won't even touch the strike zone. Bin smirks, radiating pure intensity. Ha, he is really throwing a pop ball here? He looks at the pitcher with a monstrous grin. Am I really that scary? The count is now 3-0. The next pitch is obvious. Bin Hong grips his bat tight, veins popping on his arms. I will crush this ball. Peter trembles as he releases the deciding pitch. Bin Hong tracks the incoming ball. This poor, predictable fastball. Boom. A full power swing. Crack. He connected. The ball soars high into the air, carrying Peter's fear and the entire team's hope. Bob cheers from the dugout. We have the lead. Bin Hong rounds the bases. The whole team rushes out to celebrate. After that, the game became Bob's personal stage. Whoosh! Strike out. Bob is pitching like a man possessed. The final pitch ends it. Out. Strike out. Victory belongs to the Lakewood Blue Cross. Bob beams, tapping gloves with Bin Hong. Great work out there. Bin Hong thinks to himself. Bob is actually enjoying the game now, and his ball control has improved significantly. From now on, the coach won't call him a shotgun in a bad way anymore. Bob shouts, "Hey Bob, how does it feel?" Bob punches the air. "I feel amazing. Bin is incredible." The crowd erupts in applause. That kid Bin Hong is truly on a whole different level from everyone else. Bob and Bin fist bump. Bin Hong praises him for maximizing Peter's potential through his expert game calling and leadership. The only run he allowed the opponent to score was back in the first inning. Bob looks at Bin Hong with a mix of admiration and fear. At the plate, he has the poise of a veteran. Is he really only 18? He feels like a monster in human skin. Up in the stands, a chubby scout is eating chips and laughing his head off. If a monster like that stays in Single A, he is going to tear this entire league apart. We need to get him to the majors fast. He turns to the guy next to him and grabs his chips. "You are right." "Hey, those are my chips." Arno calmly pulls out his wallet. "Sorry about that. Here is payment for the snack." He hands over a bill. The young man stammers, "Absolutely. $100. $100 for a bag of chips?" Arnott holds out his chubby hand. "Please give me the change." He plays fair, but he is still a shark. Scene change to a luxury office high up. A man in a sharp suit answers the phone. "Hey Bao, if you are calling me, it must be something very important." The logo on his shirt says Pioneers. This is the general manager of the Pioneers, Bin Hong's team. The voice on the other end says, "I want to talk about a trade." "Wait, you are looking for a left-handed pitcher, right?" The Pioneers' general manager's eyes light up. "Exactly. Right now, our team is sitting at 13 wins and 13 losses this season. We don't just need a lefty pitcher, we need a catcher too." The caller replies, "That is what I figured." Pao is shocked. "What? Are you serious? You are going to give me your star setup man? Your top left-handed reliever?" On the other end, the Colorado Rangers GM stands by the window with a sinister smirk. "Our Colorado Rangers are currently in the middle of a total rebuild for both the infield and the outfield. Give me Kevin Hoja and Nathan Levi," the Pioneers GM calculates. "A talented Triple-A outfielder and a gold 3 AA player. Is that all you need?" The Rangers GM laughs. "Maybe that is not quite enough. How about you throw in a catcher from Single A too?" The Pioneers general manager freezes. "A catcher? We are facing a massive shortage of catchers ourselves. He is just a Single A catcher. What was his name again?" He pretends to forget, but he is already locked on. "Oh, Bin Hong." Bin Hong stands on the field, totally unaware he just became a hot commodity for the big league bosses. Inside the office of Pioneers general manager Brandon, a frantic shout erupts. "Brandon!" Bin Hong. Brandon holds the phone, face pale as if he just saw a ghost. "You are asking for Bin Hong?" He paces the room, head spinning. "Hold on, what the hell is happening? This is the third call today asking about Bin Hong. This is getting weird. A player in the lowest Single-A league being scouted by 3 major teams in one day? It makes absolutely zero sense." Brandon remembered the report from Gary, the scouting lead. He quickly fired up the laptop to find Gary's scouting file on the kid. He opened the file and his eyes nearly popped out of his head. What is this? Hit 75, power 70? Those bright green, sky-high stats jumped off the screen. Was he really this talented when we first signed him? The report was undeniable. He swings with perfect balance and adapts his style instantly. His potential for long hits and home runs is just off the charts. The image of Bin Hong's powerful swing flashed through Brandon's mind. And his defense? It is already Major League ready with no flaws. His arm is like a literal laser gun. The report's conclusion was clear. Skipping him was right because there is not a single player in this league who can match him. Brandon started sweating bullets. He had almost sold a diamond for the price of a common rock. He grabbed the phone, his tone suddenly shifting. "Pat, I just remembered something. Didn't your Rangers offer more for Bin Hong back when we first signed him than we did?" He started the mind games. "You are just trying to lowball his value because he is currently in single A, aren't you? But isn't that just a distraction to help you snatch up all the talented minor league prospects for yourself?" The guy on the other end denied it instantly. Brandon didn't give him a chance to breathe, yelling into the phone to kill his hope. "I am really sorry, but I do not think that is going to happen today." Bam! He slammed the desk. "Because I just promoted Bin Hong to Double A effective immediately." Then he slammed the phone down hard. Excuse me," the other guy stammered. Instantly, Brandon messaged his subordinate, Brown, about Bin Hong's move to the Blue Cross. It was a brilliant move to keep his star talent, pushing Bin Hong to the next level before anyone could react. Meanwhile, in a much humbler setting, a beat-up old bus was chugging slowly down a dusty, winding road. Inside, players were packed together like sardines in a tin. The bus rattles and groans like the wheels might fall off. Bin Hong was squeezed against the seat, his face contorted in discomfort. The old baseball spirit was sleeping soundly right on his head. Bin Hong grumbled to himself. What is this life? He remembered Gavin saying he would not stay in the minors long. Gavin meant leaving this behind. Bin Hong looked around. A rattling bus, a hotel like a haunted house, and bread hard as rock. You need a ton of peanut butter just to swallow that stuff. My teeth are going to turn yellow. He was determined, but he had no idea everything would change starting tonight. Suddenly, the coach stood up and shouted. Bin Hong jumped. "Yes? You are getting off here." Everyone was confused. What is going on? Is he sick? Is he hurt? The bus doors creaked open. Outside, a shiny luxury car was waiting for him. "The Reading Fighting Phil's car is here." The coach smiled while dropping the bombshell. "You have been promoted." The whole bus just exploded. "The Fighting Phils? You got moved up to Double A already? Bin, how are you moving so fast? It has been less than a month since you joined the Blue Cross." Teammates crowded around. "Congrats, Bin. Honestly, you never belonged down here." Bin Hong was still in shock. He turned and looked over at Bob, his brief companion. "Bob," he said sadly, "I wish I could have pitched for you longer." Bob smiled back with no jealousy. "You will be fine. The day we are on the same squad again is coming." Bob reached out. "I will go first. Catch up quickly." The two men shook hands, a silent promise between them. "I will be right behind you, so you better wait for me." Bin Hong stepped into the luxury car, waving goodbye to the clunky bus. "Congrats, kid. Get moving and do not ever look back." The car rolled away, leaving a cloud of dust behind. Bin Hong sat in the back, sighing. This is all just so sudden. The baseball spirit floated beside him, wearing a rare, serious expression on his face. "This is the turning point of your entire life. Did you really expect some kind of grand, formal farewell party?" He pointed out the window. "From now on, the real fight begins. Double A is the level where the true professional journey actually starts for you." Bin Hong listened, his gaze sharp. The spirit continued to map out the road ahead. "If you can build a solid record here, you might only spend a very short time in Triple A." Or even Bin Hong held his breath, skip Triple A entirely and head straight for the major leagues. The spirit grinned, eyes glowing with excitement at the thought. "The time has come for me to give you a brand new condition." Bin Hong flinched. "A new condition?" Memories flooded back. The spirit repeated, "The final condition I gave you was reaching 3,000 hits while playing back in Korea." An image of Bin Hong's past life appeared, standing on the podium, receiving flowers. "Since you completed that requirement, you get to return to being 18, back to the time when your parents were still alive and well." The old fairy drifted right in front of Bin Hong, wearing a massive, eerie grin. In this second life, I am setting a brand new condition for you. Suddenly, a glowing wooden box materialized right in Bin Hong's open hands. Boom! A blinding, white light exploded out as the lid of the box flew open. Inside sat that familiar card. This is it, Bin Hong gasped. But something was wrong. It had changed. The writing on the card was completely different now. 3,000 hits, Bin Hong. The old fairy loudly declared the next condition. You must reach 3,000 hits in the major leagues. Bin Hong gripped the card, hands shaking as he screamed. What? 3,000 hits in the majors? He yelled in disbelief. The big leagues are nothing like the Korean League. 3,000 hits at the highest level of the world. That is a number reserved for the greatest legends in history. Bin Hong broke into a cold sweat. And if I do not reach that number, what happens then? The fairy replied coldly. Do you not remember what happened with the first condition? If you do not get those 3,000 hits, then you cannot turn back time. He leaned in close to Bin Hong, his eyes lifeless and terrifying. It will be exactly the same this time. If you fail, it will be as if you never traveled back at all. Bin Hong stood frozen in shock. Then the fairy dropped the final bombshell. In other words, your parents will die in that accident. You will return to the exact moment you received the card as a keepsake of your father. A brutal ultimatum. 3,000 hits in the major leagues or the death of his own parents. Fate had placed a crushing weight on Bin Hong's shoulders once again. He would have to fight not just for his career, but for the lives of those he loved most. Can Bin Hong actually survive this immense and soul-crushing pressure? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to join him on this life or death journey.